Peanut butter feels like pure comfort, right? It's been a staple for generations, school lunches, late-night snacks, a simple taste of home. But what if I told you that not all peanut butter is as safe as it looks? Over the past few years, several major brands have faced serious issues, from salmonella and toxic mold to rancid oils and even metal fragments in their jars. As a physician, I find this deeply concerning, especially for kids, seniors, or anyone with a weaker immune system. For an older adult, a contaminated spoonful could lead to real complications. That's why this video is so important. Today, we're going to expose 6 popular peanut butter brands you should absolutely avoid. I'll also share 2 clean, safe options that offer real nutrition without the hidden dangers. Because what you spread on your toast truly matters for your health. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips. Remember Peter Pan peanut butter? That red lid, the smell, it's pure nostalgia, right? But behind that childhood memory is one of the biggest food safety scandals in recent history. In 2006, Peter Pan was at the center of a massive Salmonella outbreak. It wasn't just a few bad jars. The bacteria had spread through their entire plant in Georgia, contaminating thousands of products. By the time they figured it out, over 400 people across 44 states were sick. Many of them were kids and seniors. As a doctor, I remember this case all too well. For an older person, a salmonella infection isn't just a stomachache. It can lead to severe dehydration, kidney stress, and even dangerous drops in blood pressure. I had a patient in his 70s who was hospitalized for a week after eating that peanut butter. What started as a mild fever quickly became a serious infection that weakened his heart and left him exhausted for months. Investigators later discovered a horrifying scene at the factory: leaking roofs, old equipment, and terrible sanitation. Instead of stopping production to fix things, they just kept going, prioritizing output over people's safety. In 2015, the parent company, Conagra, finally pleaded guilty and paid an $11.2 million fine, one of the largest in U.S. food safety history. It's a harsh lesson. A famous brand name doesn't automatically mean it's safe. Even today, the Peter Pan brand is still trying to earn back trust. So, if you're a peanut butter lover like me, what can you do? First, consider smaller, more transparent brands that actually publish their safety test results. Look for certifications like USDA, organic, or aflatoxin tested. Or, even better, grind your own. Many health food stores have machines where you can make fresh peanut butter on the spot. You see the peanuts go in, you know exactly what you're getting. When it comes to your health, safety should always come before nostalgia. Next, let's talk about another household name: Skippy, the friendly blue lid, the promise of smooth and happy spreads, a brand families have trusted for decades. But in 2022, that trust was shattered. Skippy's parent company, Hormel, recalled nearly 10,000 cases of peanut butter. That's over 160,000 pounds. The reason? They found stainless steel fragments from broken factory equipment mixed inside the jars. Let that sink in for a moment. Metal shards in the food you spread on your kids' sandwiches. The company called it a voluntary recall, but for anyone who had already bought a jar, the risk was very real. People started reporting finding shiny metallic flakes and even strange, pink plastic-like strips in their peanut butter. As a doctor, this is extremely alarming. A small piece of metal can cause serious internal damage, from bleeding to intestinal tears. This is especially dangerous for seniors, who might be on blood thinners or have sensitive digestive systems. This incident points to a massive failure in manufacturing oversight. When equipment in a food plant breaks, every single batch made after that is at risk. The fact that jars with metal in them made it past quality control and onto grocery store shelves tells us the safety net failed multiple times. I've treated older patients who dismissed a minor stomach pain after eating packaged food. But a small internal injury can quickly spiral into a serious infection or blood loss. These are risks that are completely preventable. So how do you protect your family? First, check for recall alerts regularly. The FDA's website and even your local grocery store post these updates. Second, always inspect your food before you eat it. If the texture, color, or smell seems off, don't risk it. And again, my best advice is to buy from smaller brands that are transparent about their testing, or just use the in-store grinders at your local health food store. You get fresh, pure peanut butter with zero surprises. Skippy's recall was a major wake-up call. It proves that even the most trusted brands can fail when they put production speed ahead of your safety. Finally, let's look at a snack that's a lunchbox staple. Ritz peanut butter crackers. Golden, buttery, and a favorite for generations. Ritz built its brand on being a simple, wholesome, family-friendly snack. But in 2018, that trust was broken in a way that could have been deadly. The parent company issued a huge recall after discovering that some packages labeled cheese sandwich crackers actually contained peanut butter. Now, for most of us, that might just sound like a mix-up. But for the 3 million Americans with a peanut allergy, that's a life-threatening mistake. Imagine a parent packing what they think is a safe cheese-filled snack for their allergic child. A few minutes later, that child takes a bite, their throat starts to close up, they can't breathe, and panic sets in. Even a tiny crumb of peanut protein can trigger a severe allergic reaction. As a doctor, I've seen these reactions firsthand in both kids and adults. It can escalate in minute swelling of the tongue, airway constriction, and a dangerous drop in blood pressure. For seniors who are already on heart or blood pressure medication, these events are even harder to manage. What's so disturbing about this incident is that it wasn't a contamination problem. It was a labeling failure. The wrong description was printed on the box, and thousands of these mislabeled packages ended up in stores. This was a catastrophic breakdown in safety checks. In food manufacturing, allergen control is supposed to be one of the most critical steps. When packaging lines get mixed up like this, it doesn't just put consumers at risk, it destroys public confidence in the entire brand. Here's my medical advice to keep your family safe. Always double-check allergen labels, even on products you buy all the time. Factories can change their processes, introducing new risks. Be extra cautious with combo snacks like sandwich crackers or granola bars, as they often share production lines with peanut products. And if someone in your family has an allergy, always have an emergency plan and an EpiPen ready. Whenever possible, choose single-ingredient foods. The simpler the food, the lower the risk. Ritz's mistake is a stark reminder that in our modern food system, even a small error can have huge consequences. A trusted name is no substitute for your own vigilance. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this information helps you make safer choices for you and your family. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content that puts your health first. Stay safe out there. Is your favorite peanut butter slowly making you sick? You might be surprised. We often reach for jars that look healthy, with rustic labels and words like natural. But as a doctor, I've seen how these labels can be dangerously misleading. Today, we're uncovering the secrets behind 3 popular peanut butter brands that have been linked to serious health risks, especially for older adults. You'll learn what the big companies don't want you to know and, more importantly, how to choose a truly safe option for you and your family. Let's start with a brand that looks like it came straight from a farmer's market. At first glance, House of Natural Butters seems perfect for the health-conscious shopper. The brown paper label, the old-fashioned font, the big, earthy letters spelling out natural, it all screams wholesome and pure. But behind this carefully crafted image lies a hidden danger that can quietly sabotage your health. Mold toxins, also known as aflatoxins. Here's the scary part. Most people don't know. Peanuts are incredibly vulnerable to mold, especially when stored in warm, humid places. If the raw nuts aren't handled perfectly, dried, inspected, and stored correctly, a fungus called aspergillus can grow. This fungus produces aflatoxins, invisible toxins that you can't taste or smell. They build up in your body over time, and the consequences are serious. We're talking about liver damage, a weakened immune system, and even an increased risk of liver cancer. The World Health Organization has been warning us about this for years. Many countries have strict limits on aflatoxins, sometimes as low as 4 parts per billion. So, what went wrong with House of Natural Butters? Investigators discovered they were skipping consistent mold testing. Even worse, their peanuts were stored in deplorable conditions: damp silos, warehouses with leaking roofs, and torn bags. These are the exact breeding grounds for aflatoxins. Reports even described musty odors and visible residue in storage areas, obvious signs of mold that were ignored. For seniors, this is a ticking time bomb. As we age, our liver and kidneys don't process toxins as efficiently. A small daily dose of aflatoxins, even just a spoonful a day, can accumulate and put immense strain on these vital organs. I once had a patient, a 68-year-old retired teacher, who came to me with mysterious fatigue and slightly elevated liver enzymes. She'd been eating a natural peanut butter from a boutique brand for years, convinced she was making the healthiest choice. After we talked, she switched to a verified USDA organic brand. Slowly but surely, her symptoms improved. It's a classic case of deception. The label promised natural, but the lack of oversight was anything but. So how do you protect yourself? First, don't be fooled by rustic packaging. A natural look doesn't guarantee safety. Always look for the USDA organic seal, or choose brands that are transparent and publish their aflatoxin test results. Avoid peanut butter stored on warm, open shelves, as heat can accelerate toxin formation. And whenever possible, buy smaller jars and use them quickly. The best option: grind your own peanuts at a local store where you can see the whole process. Remember, the word natural is a marketing term, not a scientific one. Real safety comes from rigorous testing, not a pretty label. Now, let's talk about a household name, a brand that feels like a warm hug in a jar. Gif. For generations, Gif has been a staple on American breakfast tables. Parents trust it for school lunches, and seniors rely on it for a quick, easy meal. That iconic red, white and blue label feels safe, familiar, and dependable. But in 2022, that trust was shattered. The FDA and CDC confirmed a widespread Salmonella outbreak, and the source was traced directly back to Gif peanut butter. What investigators found inside the company's main plant in Lexington, Kentucky, was shocking. Traces of Salmonella were found on processing equipment not just once, but over a dozen times during internal tests. And yet, production continued. By the time the public was alerted, millions of contaminated jars had already been shipped across the country. They went to grocery stores, bakeries, school cafeterias, and even hospitals. Gif wasn't just in jars. It was an ingredient in cookies, snack bars, and ice cream toppings. A single contaminated batch sent a ripple effect through the entire U.S. food supply. As a physician, this case is deeply troubling, because Salmonella is not just a minor stomach bug. For a healthy adult, it might mean a few miserable days of fever and cramps. But for older adults, children, or anyone with a weakened immune system, it can be far more dangerous, leading to bloodstream infections, kidney failure, or even sepsis. I've seen seniors hospitalized after eating contaminated food, initially thinking it was just a bit of indigestion. But when you're over 60, your body doesn't bounce back as quickly. What starts as nausea can escalate into a severe infection. What makes this incident even more frustrating is that the contamination wasn't a surprise. FDA documents later revealed there had been multiple environmental positives for Salmonella in that same plant over several years. The warning signs were there, but they were ignored until it was too late. Thousands of jars were recalled, but the brand's reputation has largely remained intact. Why? Because consumers trust the name they've known for decades. Here's my advice: always check the FDA recall lists online before you restock your pantry. It takes seconds. If you're buying for children or seniors, choose smaller batch brands that are transparent about their testing. And if you see jars sitting on a warm shelf in the sunlight, leave them there. Heat encourages bacterial growth. Gif's case wasn't bad luck, it was complacency. A trusted brand ignored red flags until people got sick. Your health deserves more than nostalgia. A label might look the same for 80 years, but what happens inside the factory matters most. Finally, let's discuss the brand that fundamentally changed how America views peanut butter safety. In 2012, Sunland was the darling of the health food world. It marketed itself as a small, organic, family-friendly producer, wholesome alternative to big corporations. Its labels boasted natural, organic, and non-GMO. Parents bought it for their kids, and seniors trusted it as a cleaner, safer choice. But when investigators walked into Sunland's factory in New Mexico, they discovered a horror show. The facility was infested with pests. Rusted pipes dripped onto production equipment. Food residue coated the floors. In some areas, paint was peeling from the ceiling directly above open containers of peanuts. Raw peanuts were stored in uncovered trailers, exposed to dust, birds, and insects. It was a perfect storm for contamination. Soon after, over 40 people across 20 states fell ill, mostly children and older adults. The culprit was a rare strain of Salmonella, traced directly back to Sunland's peanut butter. The consequences were devastating. Dozens were hospitalized, and a once trusted brand was destroyed. As a physician, I can't stress enough how dangerous Salmonella is for seniors. With a weaker immune system, an older body struggles to fight off infection. What might be a few days of discomfort for a young person can turn into weeks of fever, dehydration, and life-threatening complications for someone in their 70s. The FDA's inspection reports were heartbreaking. The violations weren't just isolated mistakes, they were systemic. Lax sanitation, poor maintenance, and workers bypassing safety protocols were the norm. Eventually, Sunland was forced to recall hundreds of products, shut down its operations, and file for bankruptcy. But the real tragedy wasn't just the company's collapse, it was the collapse of trust. People who went out of their way to choose what they thought was a safer, purer product ended up in the hospital. So here's what I tell my patients. Organic doesn't automatically mean safe. Always check for USDA organic certification and see if the brand is transparent about testing for bacteria and mold. Inspect the packaging carefully. Dents or bulges can be a red flag. And store your peanut butter in a cool, dry place. The story of Sunland is a stark reminder that clean marketing is not the same as clean manufacturing. A jar of peanut butter should nourish your body, not test your immune system. When a company forgets that, it doesn't just lose customers, it loses its integrity. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe for more tips on how to stay healthy and safe. Heard about all those sketchy peanut butter brands with weird additives and you're wondering, is any peanut butter even safe to eat anymore? I get it, but the answer is a resounding yes. Let me show you two brands that consistently nail it when it comes to simplicity, quality, and transparency. Trader Joe's and Crazy Richard's. First up, Trader Joe's. There's a very good reason this brand is a favorite for millions of health-conscious shoppers. Their peanut butter doesn't need flashy labels or superfood claims. It's exactly what it says on the jar: peanuts, and sometimes a tiny pinch of salt. That's it. You won't find any hydrogenated oils, no added sugar, and no weird stabilizers that keep it from separating. When you pop open a jar, you'll probably see a layer of natural oil on top. Don't be alarmed, that's a great sign. It means there are no artificial emulsifiers, just real, roasted peanuts doing their thing. Give it a good stir, and you'll have creamy, authentic peanut butter that's so much better for your heart and overall health. Let's look at the numbers. 1 tablespoon of Trader Joe's peanut butter has about 65 milligrams of sodium. Compare that to over 120 milligrams in many of those reduced-fat mainstream brands. That's nearly half the salt. And with 0 hidden trans fats, your arteries will thank you, and your blood pressure will be easier to manage. As a physician, I've recommended Trader Joe's to so many patients trying to cut back on sodium and processed junk. I remember one patient, a retired bus driver in his 70s. He switched from a popular big-name brand to Trader Joe's natural creamy peanut butter. Just 3 months later, his blood pressure had improved. He even told me he felt less bloated and had less joint stiffness. It's amazing how a simple swap can make such a huge difference. Now, let's talk about the brand I like to call the peanut butter for purists, Crazy Richard's. This one takes simplicity to the next level. Check the ingredient list. You'll find just one thing: peanuts. That's it. No salt, no sugar, no preservatives, nothing. It is hands down the cleanest peanut butter you can find on the shelf. When you open a jar of Crazy Richard's, you will definitely need to stir it, because nature doesn't use glue. But that's the beauty of it. You're getting a food that's natural and untouched by unnecessary chemicals. The texture is denser, more earthy than the whipped, sugary stuff you might have grown up with. That's because it's real food, not something created in a lab. And when it comes to safety, they are top-notch. Independent tests consistently show that Crazy Richard's has extremely low levels of aflatoxins, way below the international safety limits. They source their peanuts domestically and work closely with food scientists, earning a reputation for transparency that few can match. From a health perspective, especially for older adults, Crazy Richard's is a powerhouse. 0 added sugar means it's safer for those managing diabetes. No added sodium makes it ideal for anyone watching their blood pressure. It's packed with natural protein to support muscle health and energy, and the absence of hydrogenated oils protects your arteries and joints. Every single spoonful supports your body's vitality, not just your taste buds. So, if you want peanut butter that is exactly what the label says it is, your choice is simple. Go for Trader Joe's for a reliable, balanced and budget-friendly option. Or choose Crazy Richard's if you want pure, unprocessed goodness, perfect for clean eating. They might not have cartoon mascots on their jars, but they deliver what truly matters: real ingredients and real safety. I often tell my patients, if your food can sit on a shelf for years and never change, it's not food, it's a science experiment. Choose life, not shelf life. If you've stayed with me this far, you've already done something most people never do. You've stopped to think about what's really inside your food, and that awareness alone can change your health in ways no pill ever could. Peanut butter isn't the enemy. In fact, when it's made the right way with nothing more than real, roasted peanuts, it can be one of the most nutritious, heart-healthy foods you can eat. The problem isn't the peanut, it's what companies do to it, cutting corners, adding chemicals, ignoring contamination, or stretching shelf life at the cost of your health. For older adults, these shortcuts have real consequences. High sodium levels can spike blood pressure. Rancid oils can worsen inflammation and joint pain. And mold toxins like aflatoxins, or bacterial contaminants like Salmonella, can quietly weaken your kidneys, immune system, and digestive health over time. But the good news is simple: you're not powerless. You can protect yourself starting today by making small, deliberate choices that add up to lifelong strength. So here's my final advice, as your doctor and advocate. First, read every single label. If the ingredient list is longer than a short sentence, put it back on the shelf. Real peanut butter shouldn't read like a chemistry lab experiment. Second, avoid added sugar, palm oil, and those dreaded hydrogenated oils. These additives make the peanut butter smoother, but they also put a serious strain on your liver and arteries. Third, choose BPA-free packaging whenever you can, especially for seniors. Reducing exposure to chemical linings like BPA helps protect hormonal balance and kidney health. And fourth, store your peanut butter smart. Keep it in a cool, dry place and stir it occasionally to keep the natural oils fresh. And please, never, ever eat from a jar that smells sour, metallic, or just plain off. Your nose knows when something is wrong. And my fifth piece of advice: support the honest brands. Companies like Trader Joe's and Crazy Richard's are proving that clean, safe food is still possible without all the gimmicks or shortcuts. And finally, remember this: every single bite you take is either medicine or poison, depending on who made it. I've seen patients completely reverse fatigue, stabilize their blood pressure, and regain their vitality simply by removing processed foods and going back to basics. This isn't about creating fear. It's about having respect for your body, for your food, and for the incredible years you still have ahead. So the next time you stand in that grocery aisle, staring at dozens of jars, don't just reach for the most familiar label. Reach for the one that respects your health. Because the truth is simple: what you eat in your 60s and 70s directly shapes how you live in your 80s and 90s. Take care of your heart, your kidneys, and your mind, and I promise they will take care of you. And sometimes, it all starts with something as small as a spoonful of the right peanut butter. Before you go, I want to leave you with one simple truth: knowledge only protects you when you use it. So the next time you're in the grocery aisle, don't let bright labels or childhood memories make the choice for you. Let this information guide your hand. If this video helped you understand how something as ordinary as peanut butter can affect your heart, your kidneys, or your long-term health, please take a moment to like this video. It tells the algorithm that people still care about honest, science-based health advice. And please, subscribe to this channel, because every week, we break down hidden health traps in everyday foods, and show you safe, simple swaps that really work. And comment below: have you ever opened a jar that smelled off, or found a brand that you truly trust? Your story could help someone else stay safe. And finally, share this video with your family, your friends, or even your church or community group. Because the more people know, the healthier all of our tables become. Thank you so much for watching.